Hey guys, Guardian Draco here with my 4 most hated heroes in Guardian Tales. Now please don't take this personally if you like these heroes. They are just extremely annoying to deal with, and that is it. Now with that said, let's start the list. First on the list has to be everyone's beloved future princess. Now don't get me wrong, in the story she's amazing and I absolutely love her character. But in the actual gameplay, she's borderline toxic to deal with. So for example, in Colosseum she was in almost every single team. You would be struggling to try to climb Colosseum without having her on your team. And the worst part about it isn't that she was popular, but how she shut down every single melee team in Colosseum. Because the thing is, her weapon skill was so overpowered. First of all, it's a massive weapon skill, which means when all melee units go on her, she's sure to get all of them. And then it's a one-hit chain skill, which means as soon as she hits them with the first ability, it's over. Her entire team would get to chain on the entire enemy team, pretty much destroying them before they even got a chance to fight back. And so what ended up happening is we had the Future Princess ranged meta, where it was Future Princess and 3 ranged units. Because you need a tank, and you have 2 options, Future Princess or Ogma, who gets counted by Future Princess. So really the only option you had in Colosseum was to go with Future Princess and a ranged team behind her, which when you have such an oppressive character in the game, it's pretty toxic to deal with. Now thankfully we got Beachside Zoe to put her in her place. Kind of. Beachside Zoe has mostly gotten rid of the ranged meta, but it hasn't really gotten rid of Future Princess, as Future Princess is still very popular with Beachside Zoe on the team. But thankfully it's allowed more teams to pop up, which some of them do not include Future Princess. Thank goodness. However, there's still Arena, where she is still one of the top units in that meta, and that's because of 2 reasons. One, her super strong stats. So when it comes to 1v1ing Future Princess, most of the time you're not going to be able to take her on head on because of how tanky she is and because of how much damage she does, which is crazy. A tank that does ridiculous damage, great idea. And the second thing is, because most characters end up relying on their weapon skills to beat her, well, don't forget the pressure that her weapon skill puts on you. So the only way to beat her with your weapon skill is to make sure you land your 2 or maybe 3 weapon skills on her, and then make sure that she doesn't land her first weapon skill. Because what happens is, if she lands her first weapon skill and she chains you, she's probably gonna win the fight. And if you miss one of your 2 or 3 weapon skills, that means you're going to need another one, and by then she's gonna get her second weapon skill on you. And if the first one even tapped you a little bit, the second one is definitely going to put you in a down state, and that means she's gonna chain off you, and after that she pretty much wins the fight. And so because of how strong she is in 1v1 fights, and because of how much pressure her weapon skill puts on you, she's still such a good champion. Maybe even a little bit oppressive in Arena. Next up is another beloved character, but this one is a bit more obvious because it's also more publicly disliked. I'm talking about Nari, everyone's favorite little rat. This character is super annoying to face in Arena, and actually she's been super annoying since her release months before Future Princess, so I'd say maybe 7 or 8 months ago, and she's still going. Now the reason she's so annoying is simply because of her playstyle and her kit. For her playstyle, she likes running around and shooting you from a far away distance, especially from behind walls with her heat-seeking missiles that happen to go through the walls, making her a pain to deal with for the very linear melee units who for some reason struggle getting around a simple wall. So with that, you might think that she's just a problem for melee units, and so she shouldn't be so hated. But no, because her kit also makes her troublesome for ranged units as well, with the defense debuff for her enemies and her defense increase for herself. She's surprisingly tanky and hurts like a truck, making her a threat for even ranged units. Just look at how much damage she hits on dark units. Like, geez, weren't they supposed to counter her? Now the third hero on the list is the newest of the 4 heroes, the best android waifu, MK99. Now she's a normal strong character, so she mostly shouldn't be a toxic character, but her second attack pattern combined with her crit build is so annoying to deal with. So she can run away from you and then hit you with a massive and almost impossible to dodge bullet that only does 80% of her normal damage. But because she can run away from you, it ends up meaning that she does more damage to you than you do to her, which is super annoying to deal with. Now honestly guys, these three characters are just strong and annoying to deal with, so that doesn't make them toxic. What makes them toxic is how good they are in so many different areas of the game, making them great heroes to invest in. And so that means you will face them again and again and again because so many people have them, and that makes them toxic. You see, if you have to deal with the problem once, it's fine. If you deal with it twice, okay then, no problem. Face it 3 times, it starts to become a little bit annoying, but who cares? Now, if you have to deal with it 40 times a week for several months, I'm sorry, but I would consider that just a little smidgy bit toxic. So that's the real reason why I hate these characters. Now the last one is not even a unique character, but they have one job and they are so good at it that it's toxic when they do that one job to you. Those characters are Fae and Mei, the best anti-melee units in the game by far. So the thing about them is their party buff. It gives them a huge 64% defense boost against melee units, which is a pain to deal with. But honestly, many characters have buffs like these and they're not as annoying to deal with. So what really makes these super annoying to deal with? Well, it's their healing ability. So not only are you barely doing any damage to them while they're doing a good chunk of damage to you, but also they're healing off the damage that they're dealing to you, which means any damage you deal to them, most of it is going to disappear while they continue to damage you, no problem. And if you're thinking, just run away and use chain skill, well, their chain skill is on a low cooldown and it's super easy for them to hit you with it, especially if you're a melee unit who has to get up close to hit them. And so they'll most likely also be able to chain on you before you can chain on them. So how can you really fight these guys? You can't. So if you're running melee units and someone counters you with this in, let's say, Masters Arena, you're done for. Rest in peace, your entire team. Now guys, that's it for my list of hated characters, and honestly, it's not really hated, it's more like disliked characters. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of this list. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you disagree with some characters, or maybe you have some characters that you dislike. Let me know in a comment down below. But that's it for the video. Good luck avoiding these heroes, and have a good day guys.